I'm going to start off and just say thank you, both Sandy Smith and Michael Johnston, for joining me today. I'm Janine Cosgrove Albert. My day job is Vice President with At Your Service Staffing, and I am a member of the SHFM IAB Board and Committee. IAB stands for Industry Advisory Board. We're a group of suppliers committed to SHFM and its organization and thriving, and we are the group that helps plan the Hunger Games at National Conference. So I have Mike and Sandy joining today to kind of discuss a little bit of the past history of the Hunger Games and kind of lead us up to present times, because it wasn't always the Hunger Games. So Mike, can you explain a little bit about what happened with the prequel and what happens leading us into what we now know as the Hunger Games?
I sure can, because this is one of my favorite topics. I'm looking at the screen here and I see both of you, and I put myself in there, and I'm seeing about 50 plus years of SHFM experience. So we've all been associated with Hunger Games or the charitable events, for quite a long time, that were put on by the Industry Advisory Board. So just a little bit of, since you're introducing, I am retired, just to let the group know, but I've spent many years on the Industry Advisory Board. Probably about 22 or 23 years with SHFM, but I rolled off the IAB because we needed some new eyes, younger blood, and we now have some rules there. Anyway, for as long as I can remember for all those years, though, the Industry Advisory Board has always had a charitable event. They've always sponsored something. Many years it's been a walk, like we walked across the Golden Gate Bridge. We had a walk in Center City, Philadelphia, down to Independence Hall. We walked a nature path in Florida, and then we sort of graduated and made it a little bit more fun. We had what we call Run for the Rosé, where we had people walking around with wine glasses on trays and tripping over obstacles. And then we had veggie races in Las Vegas, which was a huge hit. But it was always one thing. It was a walk or the veggie race or one game. And so it's really kind of funny how this happened. I had a conversation with Dick Hines one day, and we were talking about how do we spice this up? Why are we only doing one thing? And we just came to the conclusion naturally together. We said, well, there's nothing that says we only need to do one. You could do two or four or eight or whatever. So back in the day, the OGs, I'll mention some names that were on the IAB at the time. There was Rod Collins, Ted Farrand, Jerry White, Barb Kane, Sumi, Steve Follett, and we all spoke, and we said, let's make this really fun and exciting and crazy. And we wanted to manage the chaos as best we could, although it's evolved, as you all know, into almost difficult to manage chaos. But that was the first year. It was in Mohegan Sun, as Janine just mentioned. So the advent of the Hunger Games, the day it was born, was that phone call that I had with Dick Hines, and then we pitched that to the rest of the Industry Advisory Board. And at the time, the movie Hunger Games was only a couple years old, and we were a little afraid: are we able to use this moniker or not? And we said, oh, the heck with it. Let's just do it, because one of our tenets was to attack food insecurity. So we knew hunger was number one in our hearts. And number two, we knew that we were going to be implementing a number of different games. So the marriage was there. So that's how Hunger Games came about. And so this year, with the leadership of Janine and Sandy, we're going to be doing our 12th event. And I can't wait to see it this year.
No, so exciting. And yes, we also have to give a little bit of thanks to Fiore, who's also been helping us, a member of the IA board, and of course, our current IAB chair, Eric Cooley, who really let Sandy, Fiore, and myself kind of run a little wild to plan a lot of what we've got going on. So Mike, my question is, when you all first started doing like the walks and the Run for Rosé and the veggie races, where would the money go? Or did you just do it in name, or was there funds raised, and where did it go back then?
Early on, we didn't spend as much time as we do now. We would look for a prominent local food pantry, like in Philadelphia. We used Phil Abundance. Up in actually, the first year at Mohegan Sun, we used a local Connecticut food bank. And then starting the very next year, we actively went out and we researched the cities where we went, and we designated at least two, sometimes three members of the Industry Advisory Board to actually go out and canvass the area and interview these prospective recipients, because we really wanted to make sure that we were hitting the right note, we got the right people, and I think that we've done a really darn good job of that. So in conjunction with those interviews, we have a couple members in our group, like Michael Moore and Damien, who have they've had some personal experience with some great agencies that we brought them on board. But I can tell you, like the group we're doing this year, Food Now, the first people that met them were Dick Hines and Connie Dixon, and they called and spoke to Dana Johnson. And once we spoke to him, it was all over. So we just love this group. And by the way, great call out with Fiore and Eric. That was a miss on my part. They have been very, very critical, instrumental in this planning.
No, not a miss at all. I think by the end of this interview and conversation, I think we'll realize it truly does take an SHFM village to pull off the Hunger Games.
Oh, yeah.
But for what's such a great cause, to combat food insecurity, and the fact that we've had this event always affiliated or associated with national conference, so we have so many of our members that can take part in it, and to truly help raise as much money as we can. Food Now, Sandy, I mean, when we engage back with them, tell a little bit of that story, with speaking with Dana and Marge, and, please, because you were instrumental in connecting with them this time around.
Well, what we did is we actually found five different nonprofits, and we spoke to each one of them. And the reason we picked Food Now is because they support every segment out there. The other ones were very driven to one specific segment, and we want to take care of as many people as we can. So when I got to Dana, I asked about Marge, and unfortunately, Marge had passed a few months before, and she was legendary. I mean, she was amazing. And so in the conversation, we wanted to do something as a tribute to Marge, because she was just a force to reckon with. And what they discovered is they needed a new truck. And the new truck is going to be very expensive. So we're trying to do the best we can in all different ways to come up with money. When we get into the Hunger Games, we've added a couple of little things. But what we liked is when Food Now finds a segment of the community, like what he was explaining to me is, he noticed some of his clients coming in with pets. And they started thinking, going, well, if we're giving them food, they're probably giving it to their pets. So they started bringing in pet food so that everybody's eating the right food. So what they're so aware of everything around in that Coachella Valley that, they go to the homeless encampments. And it just was the best decision to give money to the greatest amount of people we could help.
For sure. Food Now, definitely, they do. They check the boxes of so many segments of populations that deal with food insecurity, which is why it's so exciting, because, the Hunger Games, so much fun on our part, and like I said, it's such a great way we can have all this fun and raise the money for them. But, going back, Mike, a question I had, like when SHFM was first looking to do something different, when you had that conversation with Dick, what made you all decide to move to this format? Because you had done walks, and it sounded like the veggie races, was exciting. But let's, when we look at where we are today with the Hunger Games, with water balloon slings, and don't drop the ball, and a putt, and all these fun games that we have upcoming, as well as a dunk tank. What brought us to this type of format, given where it started?
Well, I will tell you exactly how. We had three tenets that we started with. What do you want to accomplish? And the first thing was, We wanted to make this a truly memorable networking experience for all of our members. Okay, that was number one. Number two, we wanted to energize and engage our industry advisory board members because, quite frankly, some of those walks that we had maybe 12 to 15 participants. It wasn't really that well attended. And then the third tenet was we wanted to make sure that we chose the right recipient to meet our needs, that we're going to be able to help them in this hospitality world. Interestingly enough, we started with those three tenets, but what I'm most happy about is the fourth tenet that just evolved naturally. It's given an opportunity to a lot of our members, whether they be industry advisory board members or not, to spread their wings, be a part of Hunger Games, be a part of the leadership team, be a part of just leading a team as either a judge or a captain. So it's really evolved into more than just games and giving money to somebody. It's really something for our organization too, and we want it to be fun. We wanted it to be we want it to be, like I said before, managed chaos. So that's the hardest part about this is reeling everybody in.
No, for
An
sure.
adult playland.
Yes, exactly. So
With adult
playland,
levels.
adult field day, however you want to look at it. But I do think that there is something, even deeper now to the evolution, because aside from having adult field day and all these great games and teams, and Mike, one big point that we really haven't fully hit upon, but I'll emphasize right now, is the networking that you can do at this event at National Conference is unparalleled. I mean, you can be on an event with, a VPO from Compass, Aramark, Sodexo. If you're looking to grow your business, it's great. And not for nothing, if you're looking, like I've made great friends just by being on a Hunger Games team with people.
Absolutely. Yeah.
I mean, these are people that are, now like my friends and my people. So it's really great stuff. But where we've even taken the Hunger Games even further now is if there are individuals who do not want to participate in the actual field day of it all, or the Hunger Games, is we have a packing project that happens alongside this event as well. We started it last year at our national conference in Baltimore, and now this year, what we're going to be doing is we're going to have a toiletry packing event to benefit 29 Palms. Now, Mike, you know more about 29 Palms than I do, so if you can share a little bit about them.
Okay, I'd be very happy to. 29 Palms is a marine base. It's a very large marine base out in the desert in California. I've been there a couple times, and they took me under the wing and showed me an awful lot about this place. Within the grounds, there's a gentleman by the name of Patrick Byrne, and he runs what I call the Family Readiness Center, but it's really the Armed Forces YMCA or YWCA, and their charge is to look for sponsors that help donate goods, cash, fundraising events for the families of the soldiers that come and train there. It's really a huge training ground. It's where the Marines and Army soldiers would come to train in this big sandbox before they go overseas to Afghanistan and Syria and places like that. I assure you they are in dire need of our help. We asked them, what is it that we can put in these little baggies to make these little care packages for their family members that they can either send overseas or use on the base. And he said toiletries would be great, razor blades, deodorant, soaps, shampoos, things of that nature. And like you said before, let's try not to forget the pets, because there are plenty of pets here. And a lot of these families live there. And as you know, these Marines and sailors and soldiers, they're not making a whole lot of money. So the more we can help them out, the better.
No, for sure. And I love that this is like, again, the next step in the evolution of giving back as an organization, being able to give to the soldiers and their families, because it's true, coming from a military family, yeah, you don't really earn a lot of money. So it's nice to be able to give back to those who are going to go and serve and protect our country 100%. And then what's also lovely, again, another, growth of the Hunger Games, and we started this back in Arizona at National Conference, is at our innovation showcase. Many of our suppliers donate excess or extra items that they're displaying snacks, drinks, paper, plates and cutlery. They can donate that also to the base. And in Arizona, we were able to donate, I think it was close to almost 4 full pallets of items. And what was super touching was it was right before Halloween, and there was a lot of candy on one of those pallets. And the soldier at the time said, "Oh, it's going to be a good Halloween on campus, on the base this year." So it's really heartwarming that there's yet another way that we, can give back and donate, aside from just to such a great organization like Food Now. But Food Now, 29 Palms, all good things. But Sandy, tell us about some of these fun games we're going to play. I know I mentioned a couple of them, but please, you are like our game maker for this year.
Well, what we tried to do this year, and I think there's a preconceived thing that these games are very physical. So what we're doing this year is we actually have videos of the game, because they're not physical. They're just very, don't get wet, get the ball in the thing. But it brings, like you said, you'll meet people on these teams. You'll see people. You may see somebody you're going to go try to hire. Don't say that. But, they're just simple things. Like we have pool noodles, and we're going to have a ball, and everybody's going to line up like foosball, and you got to score a goal. And we've got glow in the dark putt-putt golf with everybody being able to get points. And it's just a wonderful thing. We have a bucket brigade, so you may get a little wet, but somebody told us to bring towels, so we'll be fine. There's another one. It's like a gutter game where you have to pass the ball down, but they're very non-physical. It's more mind balance kind of a thing. And we want to get as many people there, and we want to show the videos so because in the past, we're a little competitive in this industry. And so we've kind of tiered it down a little bit, so it's more mind than physical. And I really think anybody and everybody can have fun. And the more people there, it just excites the whole community.
Yep. No, but it's going to be really exciting this year, because this is the first year we're having it in the evening. So that's really exciting. And we do have some of these great fun games that we're going to be able to play. But as you mentioned, we are also going to have some QR codes so people can scan and see what the games are before playing, which, yes, I think everyone will be a little bit more comfortable given the competitiveness of our industry and our association. We definitely have some competitive people out there, and some captain rivalries. I mean, we have Amy Lewis and Gina Breringer that are both captains, and they every year go at it. Casey McGinnis Hennessy, she's taken second place now 2 years in a row as a captain, so I know she's looking for some redemption. So it's really fun, and we have to really encourage our membership to come out and play, and know that all of these things that we're doing, whether it be Hunger Games and participating in the event itself, or the packing, or donating the items for the innovation showcase, it's just such a small way, but a big way that we can give back as an association when we're all together at our national conference.
One thing we did forget is we have some MCs, and it's a comedy tour online. I mean, even if you don't come and play the games, these two guys have been doing it year after year. And let me tell you, it's worth the admission to come and just watch those two guys.
Bob Klockner and David Wickstrom are definitely, they bring.
And you never know what they're going to look like. That's even better.
Yes, they get dressed up. They really get into it. They put the fun and dysfunctional. It's, they definitely do. Even if you go just to kind of have a bird's eye view of the two of them floating around the games, hilarious. I mean, we're really lucky that we have such a good cast of characters, from our judges to our captains to our MCs. Yes.
And another thing, if you don't want to be on a team, but you want to help a team, you can go to the table and buy points for the team that you're trying to get to win. So
True.
there's a little more you can bring, bring friends, and those $5 will add up, and that could be the one that would put Amy Lewis ahead.
You can't bribe the judges or the referees, but you can buy those points and help put a team ahead 100%. That is definitely something we encourage everyone to do to further participate, because trucks these days, which is what Food Now is looking for, are not inexpensive. And aside from individual contributions, if anyone has a company that is looking to donate to the Hunger Games on behalf of their participation, a larger contribution, that can easily be done by reaching out to Tony Butler and the team at FSA for sure. So all good things, very exciting times. Any last words from anyone before we say so long to each other today?
I think if you don't come to the Hunger Games, you're missing 3 hours of absolute madness, fun, camaraderie. I mean, alcohol. I mean, anything you could want is going to be in that 3 hours. And when you leave, you are just on this high that, what we've done and what we've accomplished and just the fun. I mean, it's definitely a must do.
Yeah.
Sandy, Janine, when you mentioned any parting thoughts, somebody asked me recently, what are some of the memorable moments that you may have encountered during the Hunger Games through all those 11 years that we've had so far? And Sandy, you can reply to this too. I can remember being on a stage with Lisa Scarpinato from Kitchens on the Street in Phoenix, and she just delivered a message to our audience. And I'm telling you, there was not a dry eye in the place when she spoke to her children, her employees, what she does, who she feeds, how she does it, and the need that they have. I had the same feeling when the woman from Love in Action got up in front of our folks, and we have a check presentation at the President's Lunch on Wednesday where we bestow this donation on folks. And by the way, when we first started, those walks and things that we usually donate about $2,000 to an organization like Phil Abundance or so. This has grown. Like in Mohegan Sun, the first check was that check was 6,000, and then we went in the next year down for Love and Action down in New Orleans was 8,000, and then I think it went to 12, then 18 and 20. So it's become exponential, and our goals, even though they're lofty, the need has become great. So when Janine mentioned and Sandy mentioned that these folks are really in desperate need of a truck, we're trying to get in that neighborhood of $40,000. And when you think about what we've done over all those years, we have surpassed well over $150,000 in some type of donation. And that's not even counting all the food and other goodies that we've supplied for folks. So the folks that have assisted with this and the membership of SHFM, hats off to you. You've done an unbelievable job helping so many people that didn't even know the help was coming. All of a sudden you get a phone call from Sandy, and Sandy says, "Hey, we're coming out your way. Tell us about your organization. We may be able to help you." What a nice surprise that is, right?
Mm-hmm.
So those are my parting thoughts. The appreciation that these folks have for what we do is just insurmountable.
It is. And you're right, Mike. Usually there's not a dry eye in the house during that check presentation. But, we're hoping to see everyone at the Hunger Games this year at National Conference. Lots of fun to do with the Hunger Games or packing or helping, get some pallets organized at the end of the Innovation Showcase. And like I said, our big teaser is there is a dunk tank, and people will have the opportunity to dunk some individuals. From Aramark, from Compass, from Sodexo, from Guggenheimer, as well as current president, past president, and incoming president of SHFM. So
excellent.
The other thing, in a parting note, the other thing you have to remember is every single penny goes to that organization. SHFM doesn't get anything. We don't get anything. So it's 100% to the end user, which, even if you give some to a great charity, they still take a little piece out of it because they do have to fund things. But this is 100%. Here's the money. Have a great day.
Yeah, no, for sure. For sure. Awesome. Well, with that, I thank you all for your time. It was great to get together and chat and explain a little bit more about the Hunger Games. So for those who are new attending National Conference, they have a little bit more understanding. And when they're registering, please make sure you click that button to sign up. Yes.
And one more thing, you get this great T-shirt, and it's like a concert T-shirt. I still have all of mine.
Yes.
I mean, they're memories that'll stay in your drawer forever.
You do. You get a great T-shirt and everything. But thank you all. Thank you both very much for today. And like I said, we look forward to seeing everyone in Palm Springs, and even more so, we're looking forward to seeing everyone participating in the Hunger Games or the packing or the organization of the pallets at the end of the Innovation Showcase. Thank you both so much, and I hope you have a great day.
Food now, baby.
Thank you. Bye, everyone.
Bye.